A historic mafia takedown shakes Sicily. Italian police have arrested almost 150 suspects in a sweeping crackdown against the infamous Cosa Nostra. With over 1,000 officers in action, this is the biggest anti-mafia operation since 1984. The early morning air at Tuesday in Palermo was shattered as over 1,000 law enforcement officers launched a meticulously planned operation aimed at dismantling the remnants of the notorious Cosa Nostra. The Sicilian Mafia, which has held its shadowy grip over the region for decades, found itself at the center of an unprecedented crackdown, leading to the arrest of nearly 150 individuals suspected of being deeply entrenched in organized crime. Authorities had issued warrants against a staggering 183 people, a number that included 36 who were already behind bars, for a wide array of serious offenses, ranging from mafia-style criminal association and attempted murder to extortion, drug trafficking, and illegal gambling. The scale and intensity of the raids were staggering, with Italian media calling it the most significant strike against the Cosa Nostra in nearly 4 decades. Rivaling the legendary 1984 offensive against the Sicilian underworld. Though once an unchallenged empire of crime that inspired iconic films such as The Godfather, the Cosa Nostra has in recent years seen its influence wane, eclipsed by the rise of Calabria's powerful 'Ndrangheta syndicate. Years of relentless investigations and high-profile arrests have weakened its once dominant grip. However, despite the changing landscape of Italy's criminal underworld, the mafia in Sicily has not faded into irrelevance. Palermo's police force, following a 2-year-long meticulous investigation, uncovered the mechanisms through which the organization continues to exert control. Today's Cosa Nostra may no longer operate with the open brutality of its past, but it has adapted to the modern world, relying on encrypted communications and discrete networks to conduct its illicit activities while maintaining its hold over certain communities. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni praised the large-scale anti-mafia operation, emphasizing that it demonstrated the state's unwavering commitment to the relentless battle against organized crime. Her words underscored the significance of the crackdown, which targeted deep-rooted criminal organizations operating within multiple districts of Palermo, the Sicilian capital, as well as its neighboring areas. This decisive action followed an extensive investigation that shed light on the inner workings of these mafia clans, revealing the extent of their influence and the methods they continue to employ to maintain control. Authorities detailed how these powerful syndicates collaborate in lucrative criminal enterprises, with drug trafficking remaining one of their most profitable revenue streams. The investigation also exposed the intricate connections between Cosa Nostra factions on the island and their counterparts in other regions, including alliances with the infamous 'Ndrangheta, Calabria's dominant criminal network, which has surpassed the Sicilian Mafia in power and financial clout in recent years. Despite increased scrutiny from law enforcement within their respective territories, mafia groups continue to enforce absolute authority, exerting pressure on local communities and ensuring compliance through intimidation and violence. Echoing practices from past decades, these criminal organizations still extort local businesses by demanding the notorious pizzo, a form of protection money that shop owners and entrepreneurs are forced to pay under the threat of serious consequences. Beyond extortion, the mafia has also infiltrated legitimate markets, coercing traders to purchase goods from them, often at inflated prices. Investigators uncovered a striking example of this type of operation when they revealed how one clan had taken complete control over the distribution of seafood, particularly mussels, to restaurants in 2 coastal villages, forcing establishments to buy exclusively from them. Although today's Cosa Nostra leaders attempt to avoid unnecessary violence to prevent drawing attention from law enforcement, the police reported finding weapons during their extensive raids. Additionally, despite their supposed efforts to resolve disputes without resorting to bloodshed, there were still cases of brutal beatings inflicted upon those who defied the mafia's authority. The hierarchical structure that has defined the Sicilian Mafia for generations remains firmly intact, with leadership positions being regarded as lifetime roles, and the rigid code of loyalty continuing to govern internal operations. However, while their methods may still be rooted in tradition, law enforcement noted that the organization has evolved with modern technology. Clan leaders have adapted to the digital age by relying on encrypted smartphones to conduct their affairs, thus reducing the need for in-person meetings that could be intercepted or monitored. This blend of old-world influence and contemporary tactics highlights the ongoing challenge authorities face in fully dismantling one of Italy's most infamous criminal organizations. Despite relentless efforts by law enforcement and the mass arrests that have taken place over the years, the Sicilian Mafia continues to demonstrate an unsettling ability to recruit new members, particularly young individuals who are drawn into its world and willingly embrace its criminal code. The allure of the Mafia's promise of power, protection, and illicit wealth still resonates with a significant number of people, ensuring that the organization remains alive and operational despite the authorities' best attempts to dismantle it. Police emphasize that Cosa Nostra has not lost its ability to regenerate, as each new generation produces young recruits eager to prove their loyalty and gain status within the syndicate. The ongoing investigation into the inner workings of these criminal networks uncovered an extensive web of informants who facilitated the Mafia's ability to operate under the radar. A particularly disturbing revelation came to light when authorities arrested a clerk from the Palermo prosecutor's office in November, charging him with leaking sensitive files to Mafia figures. This breach of trust illustrated how deeply embedded Cosa Nostra's influence remains, with insiders continuing to provide valuable intelligence that allows criminals to stay one step ahead of law enforcement. For decades, the Sicilian Mafia was the most feared criminal organization in Italy, terrorizing not just ordinary citizens but also the highest levels of the state. Its reign of violence and intimidation reached its most infamous moment in 1992 with the brutal assassinations of two of Italy's most determined anti-mafia judges, Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino. These cold-blooded murders sent shockwaves across the country and led to an unprecedented response from the Italian government, which launched an all-out war against the Mafia. The crackdown that followed was relentless, striking at the heart of Cosa Nostra's leadership and operations, significantly weakening its position over time. Although Cosa Nostra has since lost much of its former dominance, organized crime in Italy has not disappeared. Instead, a shift in power has occurred, with the Calabrian 'Ndrangheta rising to take its place as the most dominant and financially successful criminal enterprise in the country. This ruthless and secretive organization has eclipsed its Sicilian counterpart, largely due to its firm grip on the international drug trade. The 'Ndrangheta now controls the majority of cocaine smuggled into Europe, giving it immense wealth and influence that has allowed it to surpass the Cosa Nostra in both scope and power. While the Sicilian Mafia remains a dangerous force, it is no longer the unchallenged empire it once was, as the new kingpin of Italian organized crime has firmly established its reign.